Hey guys, welcome back to Umineko. 11 o'clock exactly on a Friday night, and I'm playing video games. Alright. All visual novel, but some people class it as a video game, I guess. There would have been no way to tell that the morning had come without opening a window, looking up at the cloudy sky, which had become a tiny bit lighter. It wasn't a refreshing morning. All that could be heard was the sound of the rain, which hadn't stopped falling since last night, and the hell of the wind. It's hard to imagine that it's morning. This horrible weather speaks for our hearts. Hey, it could be worse. At least it's just rain and not spirits falling from the sky. Ooh, nice one, Rudolph. Wahahaha. Whether it's raining or spears, it's coming down with the bang. Is it already 6 o'clock? Isn't this enough? After this, we've got no more measures we could take until the mystery 19th person Beatrice makes her move. True, however, I believe we have anticipated every trick they might use against us. That's right, as long as the traitor doesn't appear among the siblings, we should be able to deal with the whole situation. Haven't we talked about this enough? We stayed up all night. I'm tired. You're right, how about taking a little rest after eating breakfast? A good plan, staying up all night is trying at our age. All they stretched, they enjoyed the sun refreshing morning as best as they could. I'll go wash my face or something, I'd probably look horrible. What is that awful stench? As soon as they exited into the corridor, Carrie openly made a disgusted expression. What is it? Hey, don't you smell something awful? What is this stench? You can't stand it. After hearing those complaints, everyone stuck their heads out into the corridor. The stench was faint, but only once people started commenting on it, it was clearly noticeable. Each of them went to the corridor, relying on their own sense of smell to tell them there was a strange odor it was coming from. Where in the world could it be? Let us have Genji deal with it. I believe he should already have arrived in the server and begin with moving preparations. And he pleased to, at the very least, it's difficult to imagine go to making a breakfast that would cause such an odor. Rudolph and the others searched for the source of the smell and determined that it was coming from the underground, from the boiler room. But the door was locked and they couldn't check inside. At the same time, when Natsu's group was on its way to search for someone in the servant room, they noticed something strange near the parlor. What is this? Oh, what a horrible prank. Who would do something like this? It's a magic circle. Oh, it's a magic circle! And I went to the parlor, turning on the paint that looked like blood with a strange stain that looked like a magic circle. There's no one in the kitchen yet. Oh, what is that? Eva's group who thought the smell had come from the kitchen had returned after confirming that no one was there and preparations for breakfast has not begun yet. Then they noticed a change to the parlor. It's just as the boiler room's locked. Who wouldn't be bad? Wouldn't that be bad if something went wrong with the boiler? Has anyone spotted a servant? It's one of those vulgar scribbles here too. There was another one on the door to the boiler room. What's that? The creepy scribble just isn't here, but is it in other places too? You don't think this is a Witch of the Fourth Beatrice declaration of war, do you? Hideyoshi tried to make fun of it by staring at this creepy magic circle while listening to the wind and rain really made it feel like a message from the witch. The dripping bright red paint made one think of blood, which made it even creepier. Hideyoshi tried to open the door, but it had been locked. As a general rule, the parlor wasn't locked. Someone had gone out of their way to lock it. What does this mean? Could it be while we were talking in the dining hall, someone secretly left a scribble on the doors to the parlor and the boiler room? I'm sure the servants are behind this. We were together the whole time. We all have alibis. They probably have received some strange order from Father and pulled this prank. And there's also the case yesterday with Maricha's letter. It really is easy to suspect that the servants are acting on Dad's orders and planning something. Anyway, where is everyone? They can't be playing hide and seek. Let's look for them. Before that, I'm worried about the children. They are safe, right? I'll go and check while I'm there and see if there aren't any servants there. Then let's split up while you go to the guest house to see how the brats are doing while investigating inside the mansion. I don't want to think about it, but maybe these creepy magic circles aren't just in the places we've found them already. We might be wrapped up in some bizarre game of fathers. I will go to him and hear the situation, though I'll doubt he'll obediently listen to me. The adults split up. As a result, they confirmed that the 4 children were safe in the so-called cousin's room on the 2nd floor of the guest house. They had apparently stayed up late last night playing. All of them were snoring loudly, so Rosa decided not to wake them. Furthermore, Nacho, who was returned early the previous night to rest, was also safe. It seemed to believe the phrase early to bed, early to rise, and had woken refreshed. During that time, Kairi and Hideyoshi searched for the servants, but they didn't find them. The servant room in the guest house was also empty. The children are safe. They were all stayed up too late last night. The servant room is empty. I looked at the shift card, and the morning shift begins at 6. They should have started working by now. The nap room is also empty. There were signs that the springtime had been slept in, but it wasn't warm. Hey, is everyone's reasoning right on this? This is probably a game father set up. He must have left those creepy scribbles and hid himself somewhere, trying to make us do something. Are you saying he's trying to see who fits to see his wealth and headship? Isn't that a bit? No, it might not be strange if Father was behind something like that. After all, Father loves doing things on a big scale. This might have been a finely tuned plan starting as far back as when the epitaph was hung in the hall. In that case, I wonder if they'll give us an announcement of the game or some explanation of it. It certainly would be nice if an envelope with a crest like the one handed to Mariah Chan were to appear. That's right. Maybe Nisa and the rest, I found something like that in the mansion. Dr. Nanjo, have you heard anything about this? My apologies, I have no idea what's going on. And yes, certainly, I could easily imagine Kinzo's sound planning something on a big scale. Shouldn't we go back to the mansion for now? Maybe they found something over there. If that won't be in the way, I shall go too. I'll stay here. The children are sleeping upstairs. We don't know what's happening. We cannot leave them alone. That's right. I'll stay with the Rose and watch over the place. Would you tell that to my husband? Both the Kairi remained in the guest house. Hideyoshi went with Nanjo and returned again to the mansion. At the same time in the mansion, in a way that was hard to believe, or maybe we should stay in a way that gave him a bad feeling, Rudolph's prediction was spot on. The same magic circle graffiti that had been on the doors of the boiler room and the parlor had been found on multiple places throughout the mansion. Anarchy, how's Dad? It was no use. I received no response. I tried to put it on against the door, but I couldn't sense anyone. There was no sign of any of the servants. Where in the world did they disappear to? This isn't funny. Father and the servants are hiding. There's some strange magic circles all over the mansion. What in the world is happening? There weren't only magic circles on the doors of the boiler room and the doors of the parlor. There were 2 on the second floor and 1 on the third floor for a total of 5. They were all the same magic circle, and all the doors had been locked, so they couldn't check inside their rooms. Anyway, let's see something about the boiler room first. It'd be bad if something broke down and caught fire or exploded, so we need the key. It should be in the key box in the servant room. They fished through the key box because each of the servants carried the master keys around. Theirs weren't kept there. However, all the individual keys should have been there. I can't believe they managed to fit so many keys in there. It's in here. No matter how much we look, the key to the boiler room is in here. Look at the key. Only the keys to the rooms with those magic circles drawn on them are totally missing. It's true. How bothersome. It's as though someone didn't want us to go into the rooms with the magic circles. No, they went to all the trouble making those magic circles obvious, so maybe they wanted us to enter. I think it's the latter. This is a movie, so breaking on the door is probably impossible. Especially no window might do the trick, though. For a while, Cross pondered over whether their situation really called for smashing a window. At the time Hideyoshi and Nanjo returned, there was nothing strange in the guest house and the children were safe. They told the others that Rose and Kairi had stayed to watch over the place. Good morning. I heard that something strange has happened. Good morning, Dr. Nanjo. I apologize for waking so early in the morning. What is it? Did you find a letter or something? I was sure you had found something like that by now. You're right. I also believe this to be a massive joke over the game of fathers, but this is the case. There should be some letter telling us about it, like the letter was given to Mariah Chan. What Mariah Chan letter actually was an announcement telling us what the game was on, the rules of the game, try to solve the epitaph, as it has already been made clear. Then, what might the magic 5 circles we found in the mansion represent? And the missing servants. Natsuhini, so how many servants were there today in total? Huh? Genji, Goda, 5 of them, but why? So there are 5 servants, there are also 5 magic circles. Probably a coincidence, but I don't like it. Nissan, let's break a window. We should check and see what's inside. We have no choice. Do it neatly. Cross made this decision, gave permission to smash the window, and he decided that the first thing they would break into be the parlor on the first floor, where the window should be easiest to reach. They had hoped to peek through in the window, but the curtains were down, so they couldn't see inside. Rudolph wandered around the garden trying to find something that would be good for smashing the window. Eventually found a rock bigger than a fist and came back. You don't have to smash the whole thing, just to open it up till we can reach the lock. Don't get your hopes up, okay? Rudolph raised a rock and hit the glass with it several times. He was succeeded in opening the hole big enough that he could unlock it from the outside. Covering his hand with a handkerchief, he stuck his hand through that hole and cautiously unlocked it. We should probably keep it covered with packing tape later. Tape, okay. The rain don't get blown in. When he suddenly opened the window, the wind and rain made the curtain dance around violently. The curtain was blown to the side. They could see into the parlor they knew well. They were a little relieved. They thought there might be another bizarre magic circle inside the room, or possibly the traces of some creepy ceremony. In the event, they didn't want to hang around in the rain, so the six of them crossed Natsu's Eva, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, and Nigel into the parlor as a group. It seems that nothing particular has changed. What's wrong, Shannon? Wait, are you okay? What happened to you? Blood. Dr. Nigel, take a look at this. Hey, Shan, are you okay? Answer me. You must shake her. I will examine her condition now. She had been in the shadow of the sofa, so they hadn't noticed her until they entered the room. Shannon was lying on the floor, her chest stained bright with blood. Hey, Battler, where are you? Look, Shannon's corpse is turned up. See, I won't bully you anymore, so come out. Oh, there you are. What are you doing, clutching at your head in a place like that? Battler was crouching under the table, holding his head. His pitiful figure made it plainly clear that he didn't want to see anything, that he didn't want to hear anything. He had heard Beecher's sneering voice. Could he not hear, or was he pretending that he couldn't hear? In any event, it was clear that he closed up his heart like a shell. Perhaps you tormented him too much, milady, after showing him all that and demanding a counter-argument. I can understand why you want to mope around. Hey, Battler, if you can't argue back, then resign, okay? It's your turn. If you don't make some move or pass, or else give up, we won't get anywhere. What's that? I can't hear you. I said be quiet. Shut up. A witch, magic, why don't you just do whatever you want? I don't believe any of it. Damn it. Don't talk to me, just show me anything. Disappear. Just disappear. Don't get me that annoying face near me. Beard just winced reflexively at Battler's sudden rage. Even if you say that you don't finish your turn, then my turn won't come. In fact, I'm the one asking you to stop boring me. Who cares? Be quiet. Shut up. Who cares about your game? I won't go along with it. If your turn won't come until mine's finished, and just wait for all eternity. I don't know. Get it? It's one except which is a magic. Only except something I screwed up. I said, don't talk to me. What just happened? Did she hit him or something? I don't know what's what anymore. After being shown something that screwed up, how could I resist? Maybe not. I don't know. I wandered aimlessly through the rose garden. It was raining and windy, but that didn't mean my body got wet. There was just a feeling of isolation as I wandered amidst the wind and rain without an umbrella. Maybe. I lost in that person's game a long time ago. Actually, didn't we already have a clear winner and loser in that game? After all, I surrendered for a time. That's how the world was tinted with witches and magic. Right now, Rokujima is a different world where witches tride around openly and fire off strange spells. It was a matter of accepting or denying it. Maybe I mistakenly assumed that I was playing a game on even footing with Beto. Maybe I was already defeated in the last game, and this is just my signing ceremony of my surrender. A minute ago, a terrible battle unfolded in this rose garden. I saw with my own eyes. I kicked the ground. Obviously, the ground was hard, and water from a puddle splashed. Several towers that split this ground sprouted like high-rise buildings. The more I kicked this ground, the more I felt like that couldn't possibly have happened. But for that very reason, I couldn't explain it with anything other than magic anymore. If there was a closed room with a key shop inside, I know it's probably an extension of stuff you often see in detective novels. But that big flashy thing, damn it. It seems like this has caused you much trouble. Huh? It's you. Someone suddenly spoke to me, so I turned around, and the Rose Garden of Bird was the predecessor, Beatrice, whom Beatrice supposedly defeated a short while ago. Hey, what the hell? I was sure you died, so you survived. No, I did. I know I'm nothing more than a defeated chess piece lording around outside the chessboard. Your beats will suit your eyes. In other words, you're a witch too. Yes, that is correct. So basically, that means witches really do exist, and the only one who can defeat her is me. That be useless. You can use awesome magic, right? I'm just useless now. There's nothing I can do anymore. Oh my, have you surrendered completely? What do you mean surrender? How am I supposed to explain that? Towers sprouting and falling, huge giants holding shields and throwing spears. Just remembering it makes me feel like I'm going insane. We're way past the point of trying to reason all this out, aren't we? We left the level of tricks and things that can be explained with human culprits. Damn it. Calm yourself. I am nothing more than a piece of that child's game board. After being removed from the board, I'm no longer being capable of doing anything. But you aren't that child's opponent. As long as you don't give up on your own, you will always have the power to strike back. Shut up, weren't you also reciting strange spells and summoning towers and spears? Or do you mean to strike back? Or you say you'll teach me magic too and make me take part of the massive magic battle? If you wish, I could teach you a bit about magic. Oh, just what I wanted, please. Give me some awesome magic to smash your chest in one blow. I don't screw with me. Under that Japanese magic, there's a ceremony used to pray for rain. Did you know of it? A rain ceremony, that thing where you throw stuff into a fire and dance around as an offering? That's not magic. They say that the fire causes an updraft, which makes rain clouds gather. That's supposed to be an accepted scientific phenomenon. Oh, I believe there used to be a form of Easter magic, but is that not the case? I believe the people offered sacred fire to the heavens as well as a dance of respect so that your entreaty for rain would reach the hearts of the gods. Maybe people did that long ago, but the most occult things like that have scientific explanation. Why do things burn? Is it that because phlogiston is contained in the material? No, things burn because of a chemical reaction. Lavoisier abolished the phlogiston theory. Why does heat transfer through objects? Is it that because color is contained in the material? I'm pretty sure that was abolished by Joule. Heat is energy, not a substance. Yes, studied well. Your knowledge is accurate. It's just some trivia. Phlogiston, caloric, and eventually other and God's love. All are powerless before a scientific explanation. In the past, I was told that an apple falling from a tree was thanks to God's love, so that humans be given food. So even gravity is the love of God. Well, that's probably the reminiscence from the period when religion rather than science was explained everything. That is correct. In the past, humans called the limits of their knowledge no ignorance of self-magic. Like the rain ceremony, what we were just talking about. The people of ancient times realized that there was a scientific explanation. That fire gave rise to heat, so to cause updrafts like summon clouds. Even without understanding these things, they knew at least that the result. They probably happened a lot. The stuff called knowledge of the ancestors, even without understanding the reason. Through long experience, they knew they'd achieve results. Phenomena whose principle they didn't even understand were probably the same as magic to them. Like this person just said, ancient people who didn't understand those principles probably believed that through the rain ceremony, their wishes would reach the heavens and make rain fall. To them, that was certainly magic, as long as they didn't understand updrafts. If you push an electrical switch, a light turns on. Children do not know the scientific principles behind why a light bulb lights up. They only know the result when they push the switch. If they obtain such a result without knowing the principles, does that make it a magic to them? That's pretty interesting. Well, logically, that's true. For example, I don't have a clue why the brown tube's in a TV show picture. Still, I think it's totally normal to see things shown on TV, even if I don't understand the principles behind Tron tubes. I at least know that if I push a switch, I can watch TV. It's exactly the same as having a rain ceremony without understanding updrafts. In other words, if I don't know the principles, even the TV is the same as magic, or even magic itself, I guess. Do you know the structure of the bronze tubes? Have you ever taken part one and looked inside? Nope. I think I read about it in a book or something once. It was complicated and I didn't have a clue. I think that when electrons hit a fluorescent material, it creates luminescence or something like that. That book lied. Actually, there are small people called gremlins stuck inside the bronze tubes, and they do their work with magic. Huh? Don't be stupid. There's no way that's true. I can deny if you never looked inside a bronze tube. I never looked inside it, but I can say for sure that small people like that definitely don't exist. Since there are no bronze tubes here, that is impossible to prove. Yeah, it's impossible to prove right now, but later, I can take a bronze TV somewhere and show you and instantly win the argument. So putting it another way, my magic theory that gremlins are shoved inside the bronze tubes and display the picture with magic is impossible to disprove until we can verify the contents of a bronze tube, correct? Or what the hell is that? There's one of those. Are you trying to say it's a devil's proof? That's a favorite trick of you witches. The devil's proof is a bit of a sophistry, one that takes advantage of the fact that negative effects are impossible to prove. However, it's different from my bronze tubes metaphor that can be resolved simply by taking apart a single television. You're right, it isn't really a devil's proof. You proposed a scientific theory, and I proposed a magical one. One of those is the truth, and one it can be ascertained the moment you look inside a bronze tube. However, until the instant that happens, you cannot deny each other's theories. So even though the only one truth exists, until you look into the bronze tube, you can have two conflicting truths exist at the same time. You have a realm in which two truths can exist simultaneously, even though there must only be one truth in existence. Is it the cat in the box alive or dead? If you open the box, you will learn the answer. You will learn the truth. However, until you open the box, you can claim that the cat is alive, and you also can claim that it is dead. Both claims are the correct truth according to the people that are making them. Even though the two sides are in conflict, neither can win the argument as long as the box remains unopened. In other words, two truths can exist at the same time. Even though there can only be one cat in the box, it is packed with a living cat and a dead cat, forming a strange, separate world. That is what Rukujima is now. The island is now a different world where scientific theory and magical one can exist at the same time. To a resident of the world of science such as yourself, at a glance it may feel as though this island has been subject to a world of magic. That might not be wrong, but it's not accurate. Strictly speaking, it has been moved from the world of science to the gap between the world and the world of magic. That world and the world of magic. So at a glance, it appears to you as though the world is tilted towards the magical side, but in reality, this island is now in a perfectly impartial position with the relation to those two opposing worlds. I don't really get it. The gap between reality and magic. A perfectly impartial world. How's that? How's pretty much everything that's happened been totally not in my favor? And perhaps you could think of it this way. This is a trial. Think of it as a court where your bitches are laying opposing claims. Call it a bronze tube trial. Your opponent claims that there are tiny people inside the bronze tubes. Explain one thing after another, talking about the lives of these tiny people, what they look like, what type of magical power they have, and what do you do? Well, I studied in a library and argued back by explaining how bronze tubes are constructed. At this moment, both your claim and that child's claim exist in the court at the same time. If you find your opponent's claim convincing, it might sound like the truth to you, but it might look like the truth to you. That is exactly what you saw. At this moment, Rokujima, witches and magic certainly may exist as truth. However, until the moment that the cat's box is open, that world is in an uncertain way function. The entire situation can be explained by both sides at the same time. However, there is one truth. That truth of strength observation and countless truths are weeded out to become one truth. It is like when in court the judge hands down his judgment. The two truths from the prosecutors and defense claims are reduced in number by the judgment and become one. To say in your words, this island right now is a world right before looking into a bronze tube, right? Therefore, the science theory and the magic theory cannot be denied. And since they cannot be denied, both can exist as truth. Therefore, both witches and magic can exist. However, at the same time, your opinion of denial also exists as a truth. It is a world where two conflicting things can exist at once, and this is a world where conflicting truths cannot disapprove each other. Have you managed to understand? In other words, no matter how much awesome magic Beetle shows me, it's only a claim of magical theory and it doesn't disprove my position. So no matter what kind of magic Beetle shows me in this world, it cannot become proof that magic exists. That's right, that child might even try to explain apple falling from a tree with magic, perhaps by striking her staff and magically plucking the apple, and then claiming to be the thing that made it drop down to the earth. However, that would be nothing more than another claim. None of your opponent's claims could prevent you from making your own. In that sense, this world is quite impartial to both sides. I get it still by that argument. If I show a sound argument with my science theory and it collides with head-on with her magic theory, I also can't win against her. On top of that, final judgment won't come until we peek into the bronze tube. Where is the bronze tube in this world? Because it exists, there should be no reason for us to argue. Why don't we just get along and peek into the bronze tube? If there really is a tiny person there, it is my complete loss. Otherwise, it's my victory. Why do we have to hold this debate without looking into the bronze tube? That itself is, again, being challenged to. Maybe instead of a court, I should use the chess as an example. Their victory and loss are not determined by a judge. You who will fight will decide it yourselves. Can you win an argument with an opponent in a screwed up world where multiple truths can exist at the same time? In actual facts, didn't you lose an argument and surrender like this? That is all the advice I can give you now. If you wish, I can occasionally offer you counsel. Sure, thanks, that really helps. I'll avenge you. Oh, thanks you. I look forward to it. What's your name? Beatrice used to be my name, but now I surrendered it. I do not have a name, so I shall take a temporary name. Virgilus. Now, how about Virgilla? Virgilla, like Valkyria? Or is it that name for a goddess that show up in myths? No, it means a god who leads the way to Beatrice. I will guide you to that child who waits at the summit of Mount Purgatory. It ought to be a fitting name for such a guide. Who would have guessed I accept help from a witch when I'm trying to deny witches? I see. If this is a contradictory world, where different claims can exist at the same time, I guess that's cool. It's almost funny. I am borrowing that child's words, but you are truly like a phoenix. Your will to fight has already been revived. Come, if your heart is prepared, return to your opponent. Return to the chessboard where that child is seated. I look forward to seeing how far you can fight with my disciple. Yeah, watch it. I won't listen to her babbling anymore. I'll coolly fight to the end. I'll definitely won't get provoked by her any longer. Then let us return to the seat of the battle. Oh, Battler, where did you run up to, Cackle? And I thought losers never came back for more. Sorry to keep you waiting. I've cooled my head off a little. And did you think of a response to that pleasant, thrilling, refreshing, highly acclaimed, wonderful fantasy battle between teacher and me? It's that impossible to explain without fantasy. Yeah. Milady, didn't you promise to be kind and act more gracefully? Yeah. Oh no. I just got in such a good mood when I saw Battler's face, you see. Look. How are you going to respond to that battle just now, Battler? Battle? What battle? What? In this rose garden, where do you see those spirits and towers you made lying around? They aren't here, are they? In other words, it's just like the inside of a bronze tube. The inside of a bronze tube, Cackle. What in the world are you talking about now? At this very moment, there's nothing at all in this rose garden. Towers may have sprouting with magic until a short while ago. However, that's only the case until we see what's inside the bronze tube. That magical battle is nothing more than your interpretation, your claim. The fact that there's absolutely nothing here to see now proves it. This is how I argue back about that witch's battle just now. Right now, there is anything here which proves that nothing's happened. Come now, of course I can't make a huge mess when it's only the first twilight, and I'm rather fond of the rose garden, you see. To prevent any damage, I fight the current inside a barrier. So it's only natural that it wouldn't have any influence on reality. That's your claim? Well, I guess that works. However, at this point in time, there's nothing in the rose garden, so nothing stands in the way of my claim that there was no magic done here. Well, wait, how can you doubt my magic with a mess like that? It's impossible to prove that magic does not exist. It's a devil's proof. At this point in time, this garden is the truth. The instant you look inside, the tiny people inside the bronze tube will vanish. And there are no traces of magic here at all, so a battle between you and witches did not take place. But what the power, could it be? Have you forgotten, milady? It is the multi-layered world's reduction technique, the power of an infinite witch, that counter to the power of an endless witch. Only an endless witch can perceive it, and it is most effective against such a witch. This scrawny nigger's cat box. That old hack of a witch, what an uncalled for hint. We lost time, including the 5 servants and the grandfather. There are 6 corpses. Let me check the scene. I've been trudging along, wasting time. From now on, I'll speed things up, okay? Take a seat, Beatrice. It's finally the first twilight, isn't it? Let's start the real thing. Show me what you've got. Okay, guys, I will be taking a little break here, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Okay, guys, I am back. Forget what the adults expected, at least for us kids. These were supposed to be fun couple of days for the cousins depended on their friendship. However, when we woke up, there was an unbelievably cruel reality waiting for us. George and Kinjisko were crying over Shen and Kennecon's deaths. Right now, everyone who is alive has gathered in the lobby of the first floor of the guest house. And there were 12 people here. Unbelievable, right? There were 18 until yesterday, and then one night, a third of that number had lost their lives. I eventually sobered up at my agitation, and along with the lack of sleep, from being woken up so early in the morning, I was beginning to feel a faint sense of unreality. I want to think this is some kind of bad dream. My cheap escapism keeps telling me over and over. Mariah had gone back to sleep on the sofa Rosa was sitting in. Rather than having her nerves of steel, she probably genuinely hadn't had enough sleep. The adults were holding on from what was apparently grandfather's collection, shot-barrel Winchester rifles. Apparently relics from a time he had been obsessed with westerns. There were 4 guns altogether. Those had been split up among the 4 siblings. Uncle Cross and Eva, my dad, and Aunt Rosa. Paper boxes full of bullets lay on the table, and the siblings were suddenly loading them. It's a little scary, even not touching one of these. I get the feeling that I'll yell, "Don't touch that," and hit me. Well, isn't that correct? No matter how much you touch that, he won't be hit again. I can't believe it to think that father would meet this kind of end. Well, I never did expect Ken's son to die normally in this bed, but even so, it is too horrible. Hey, I wonder if it really was father. I think it might be a different person's corpse used as a substitute to trick us. No, his father, without a doubt. You saw his toes, right? Generally speaking, there aren't many humans with 6 toes on both feet. But that doesn't mean that such people don't exist. I've heard that polydactyl isn't that rare a disease. He was a man who liked large-scale tricks, right? He might have obtained a corpse from somewhere that had the same number of toes on both feet. Ridiculous. Why would he do something like that? I don't care if it was a normal person, but this is a father we're talking about. You can't be sure to carry some talking nonsense. After all, burning a corpse makes it hard to identify. Still, there should be a few ways to examine it from his teeth and bone structure. If the police investigate, of course, they'd be able to know whose body it was right away. The problem is that we need a telephone engineer more than the police right now. The boats probably won't come in this typhoon, so will they arrive tomorrow? Most likely the boat will come again at 9 tomorrow, then I believe we will be able to contact the police. It's the same for us and the culprit. Until the typhoon passes, this island will be closed off. Just from our parents' conversation, you could probably figure out the general gist, but let's explain the situation anyway. First, early that morning, in various places throughout the mansion, a total of 6 corpses, including grandfather and all the servants, have been found one after another. First, grandfather had been in the boiler room and completely burnt. The servants died, each up in their rooms throughout the mansion that had circles drawn on them. The cause of death of the servants was uncertain, but according to Dr. Lange's diagnosis, there was a high likelihood that they had been stabbed by something like a spear, or possibly shot with a gun. That's why the adults have started aiming themselves with Winchesters, or arming. And what made the situation even more chaotic was the fact that the telephones had become unusable. It was unknown if the lightning had caused them to break down or if the culprit had broke them. And anyways, his contact with the outside had been cut off. We couldn't reach the police. So until the typhoon passes and a boat comes tomorrow morning, we'll have to protect ourselves. After all, Rokinjima is now isolated by the typhoon, and we're just stuck on the island, so is the culprit. It seemed that the adults had stayed up all night holding the family conference in the mansion's dining hall the whole time, and yet the crime had occurred in the mansion. So right when the adults had been in the uproar over money, the murderer had been killing under the same roof. They say Aunt Natsu has been strict about locking the doors and windows at night, and yet some suspicious person had entered and left the mansion. The adults had decided that the inside of the mansion was too large to be safe, so they had pulled out the guns and moved to the guest house where we had been. Which brings us to the present. George Eniki had begged to see Shen and Chen's corpse, but the adults had refused and that he must do so until the police arrived. That was just because they wanted to seal the rooms to preserve the scene. After all, the culprit had killed 6 people was wandering around the mansion. They show me a family right now. The mansion should have been their home, but now it was a danger zone that an unknown murderer could enter and leave at will. After all, it's a huge mansion. There are probably plenty of blind spots and dark places. It's too vast to guarantee the absolute safety with this number of people. Relatively speaking, the guest house was much smaller, at 2 above-ground stories, something like 10 or so rooms. Apparently it had originally been constructed to serve as a small hotel as part of the plan to turn this island into a resort. So it's easier to know what was going on everywhere inside it. It would be easier to keep safe. It made for a good place to hold up in. Also, it was extremely likely that this mass murder of 6 people was a game. After all, the culprit had proclaimed so in the letter. I heard that a Western-style envelope with the family crest, just like the one Mariah claimed they received from Beatrice yesterday, had been found in the boiler room where Grandfather's corpse had been discovered. This is what the letter said. So that there will be no misunderstandings. The game I seek is for everyone to try and solve the riddle of the epitaph, not for you to try and catch me. If you don't solve the riddle, the pitiful sacrifices will further increase in number. It would be wiser to spend your time solving the epitaph instead of searching for me. If no one can solve the riddle, no one will survive. If a person appears who can miraculously solve it, I will give them all the gold of the Golden Land. They're issuing me a family headship and all my power. I was the one who succeeded to issue me a family headship after Kenzo-sama. I look forward to seeing who will succeed to that headship after me. The Golden Witch Beatrice. The riddle of this epitaph was that thing. The strange epitaph written by the portrait of the witch on the display of the hall of the mansion. Grandfather was the one who had written it, and the person who solved it would supposedly be given the inheritance or the hidden gold or something like that. Ever since it was first put on display there several years ago, your relatives had secretly tried to solve that riddle, despite saying on the surface that the whole idea was silly. However, up until today, no one has solved it. We were once again being urged to solve that unintelligible riddle, and this time we were faced with the threat that we'd be killed if we didn't solve it. If that wasn't a game, what else could it be? The bold opinion that we should search the premises for the culprit did come up once. However, there was a good chance that they were armed and there might be just one of them, and while they might be able to kill more than 6 people, they stopped at 6. The opinion that won out in the end was that we should avoid needlessly antagonizing the culprit and to hold up in a safe place while we were waiting for the police to arrive. After the adults carefully checked out the doors and windows in the guest house were locked, they stepped to camp in the lobby. As they loaded their guns to distract themselves from the tension, their expressions showed that they were already fatigued from this long day, which had still barely begun. There was nothing for me to do. Now all I could do was to be taught how to use a gun to prepare for the off chance of something happening that led to an excess of guns. That's fine, just obediently stay there, and me and the rest of you. 6 people in the beginning again, and this time his grandfathers and all their servants put together. Most likely that this child has been carefully studied your moves from the last game, and has made an optimal move by taking the pieces you are most likely to suspect from the start. That makes sense. That was the truth both last time and time before that. The servants who know everything about the mansion, who walk around with keys, always fall into the most suspicious category of people. And a good example in the last game would be Jessica's closed room. If only I accepted that as servant was the culprit, that wouldn't have even been a closed room. And so, that child went straight for them, probably to block up a method of escape he'd likely to attempt sooner or later. Beto already proclaimed in the red that there are no more than 18 people in this island. In other words, it's time to give up on that. Now we've got to suspect one of the 18. This child will probably come at you by stealing the pieces for all the 18, while also making an appearance as a 19th person who shouldn't exist. For then you would be forced to accept that your opponent is a witch. After all, now that intimidation approach has failed, trying to force you to surrender by showing you magic, the only remaining option is a frontal attack. Perfect, bluffing won't work anymore. Be careful, deception is what witches are best at. No matter what your opponent says or shows you, it will not be able to threaten the truth that you believe in. Don't forget that. Sure, as I fall for some same moves over and over, come on out, Beatrice, let's get started. I am already seated at the table of the contest, and my turn is already complete. To think we would end up having Madame as our foe. This will not be easy, my lady. Our moves will be read thoroughly. I care not, but not just moves are all old-fashioned classics. There is nothing to fear. So just what moves can you make beyond the classics I taught you? I look forward to seeing you, Beatrice. Cackle, cackle, you okay with this, battler? Can someone deny which is really except the witch of the strategist? Your stupid provocation is pointless. Provocation, whatever. This is my advisor. No, my second. That doesn't change one bit, but this fist fight between you and me. I understand one is as wobbly as yourself probably needs training wheels on his bicycle. Do as you like. Come, let us begin. It's your turn. Let's begin with the reconstruction of the crime scene. Virgilia, quickly, please. This first corpse discovered was Shannon. She was found in the parlor on the first floor of the mansion. The door and windows were locked and closed room was established. Beato, I need some details. This confirmed the definition of a closed room. Indeed, the term closed room refers to a room where the inside and the outside are completely cut off from each other. Naturally, it will be impossible to even affect the instant across the boundary line, much less enter or escape across it. This includes an all and exclusive denial of the existence of hidden doors, as well as possibility of intervention from the outside. Henceforth, this shall be referred to as Beatrice's closed room definition. Let's focus in a bit. How do you deny all the possibility of intervention from the outside? I refer to all the types of direct intervention from the outside, such as using flesh, inline, or a long, thin rod. In conclusion, there are no gaps in the doors and windows through which tricks will work. I wonder about that. Even if there wasn't a gap, you should be able to intervene with radio waves with like a remote control, right? Very well. I'll add this definition that interference through the radio waves and related methods of remote control should be impossible. There's also an existing telephone in the parlor. A device connected to that would encounter a remote control, right? The phones are already unusable, are they not? Whatever. I'll include that too. All direct and indirect methods of interfering with the inside of the closed room from the outside of the room are impossible. What about a voice or a knock? They should be able to interfere from someone outside without someone entering your room, right? Even though it's a closed room, it probably wasn't impossible for someone to call or knock or call out. The closed room definition does not cover whether transmission of intent across the boundary is possible or not. In other words, you can't make it so your definition includes the blockage of all methods of communication with the outside. That is indeed the case. Understood. So Shannon Chan's parlor satisfies the beaches closed room definition, right? Correct. Closed room definition understood. Continue, Virgilia. Yes. Shannon's corpse was in possession of one master key. The relatives who discovered her collected this. Be it to repeat it, how many master keys this time? The same as last time. There are 5, 1 for each servant. Which means that this still isn't a closed room. There are still 4 master keys left. It just means that after Shannon Chan was murdered, one of the 4 other keys locked it. Correct. And it was only a master key that was found. Yes. Alongside the corpse there was a western envelope with a family crest instead of a letter to the key. As the key to a guest room on the second floor was inside of it. The key to the second floor guest room. The only key other than the master key that can open the door to that second floor guest room is a definition, correct? Indeed, there is no problem, and unlike the master keys, only one of those exists. In other words, apart from the 5 master keys, there will only be one key that can unlock certain rooms. In other words, it's a message telling them to go to the second floor guest room next. So the adults move to the second floor guest room, right? Yes, the door to the second floor guest room was locked and magic circles drawn on it. The relatives unlocked the key that was found near Shannon's corpse. Inside Kumasawa's corpse was discovered. It was a closed room, one that satisfied Beach's closed room definition. Kumasawa was in possession of one master key. The relatives collected this. And in Shannon's case, there was a western envelope discovered alongside her. Inside her was the key to the third floor waiting room. The relatives moved to the third floor waiting room. So there was a magic circle on the door to the third floor waiting room, and the door was locked. Yes. And so the room Goda's corpse was discovered. The room was a closed room, one that satisfied Beach's closed room definition. Goda was in possession of one master key, and the relatives collected this. And like up until now, a western envelope with the family seal was discovered, inside of which was a key to the second floor VIP room. The relatives moved to the second floor VIP room. What's going on here? What are you planning? Cackle, cackle. There is no need to glare. It may be a closed room, but there are still multiple master keys that can open it, correct? And besides the master keys I've even given you keys specific to each room. I don't like where this is going, but I'm starting to see how it'll turn out, so continue like this for all 6 people. Yes, that is correct. Inside the second floor VIP room, Genji's corpse was discovered. One master key was collected. The key to the underground boiler room was discovered. They moved to the underground boiler room. Inside the underground boiler room, Kento's corpse was discovered. The key to the chapel was discovered. They moved to the chapel. Inside the chapel, Cannon's corpse was discovered. One master key was collected. The key to the first floor parlor was discovered. With this, our reconstruction of how all 6 corpses were discovered is complete. And I didn't, along with the key to the chapel, a letter was enclosed in the western envelope found near Kento's corpse. The contents of the letter were as you saw. It further urged the relatives to solve the riddle of the epitaph. In that case, what's going on? At the last place where Cannon had the key to the very first room, the parlor where Shannon was. That makes 6 closed rooms all tied together, right? That is correct. The 6 closed rooms are all tied together. The keys to unlock each one are all shoved inside the room. In other words, the 6 closed rooms form one massive closed room. And all the master keys are as well as individual room keys are shoved up inside it. Furthermore, all of the doors and windows on 6 rooms are normal. There no device exists which can lock them without a key such as an auto-lock. Cackle, cackle, what do you think? It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Once again, my lady, that is not dignified when no one ever bucked her. Bito suck his tongue. at him without showing any signs of shame. Ooh hee hee, sorry. Playing with Battler just put me in such a good mood. Gotta go consult Battler. What do you think of my move? If you can't think of anything in particular, I wouldn't mind showing you how I made the goats carry the corpses. Still love all the rooms with magic, okay? Do what you want. I'll listen respectfully to this magic theory that you claim is true. However, I can claim my human theory even though it's completely different from yours without any interference from your claim. In other words, there's no need for you to pay me attention to me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me reread that. In other words, there's no need for me to pay attention to your bullshit. Go ahead and show me how you can lock the door with your multicolored magic simply by waving your magic staff. Just like these guys with their oil and all-purpose kitchen knives. Virgilia, let's reconstruct the crime scene. Search for a weakness. Were they all definitely dead? If one of them was just plain dead, this isn't a closed room at all. I just confirmed all of them were dead. However, due to the devil's proof, it's impossible to deny the possibility of a wrong diagnosis. In other words, that child cannot make the likelihood that Angela overlooked them being alive equally to zero. Here it is, that devil's proof, but there exists a sword that can carve that up. But what's up with them? Looks like they're having a good time living without the discussion. I'm his opponent, am I not? Doesn't he have any time to spare for me? Fundamentally speaking, communication with one's opponent is not necessary to active competing in chess. Every time you communicate with him outside of making your moves, you use the opportunity to confuse him. Perhaps this is a result of him not wanting to be led astray. For some reason, I don't like it. You're a challenge him to chess match, are you not? That's true, but God, we just puffed your cheeks as though to say, I don't know why, but I don't like it. Because the police had not arrived at the crime scene, the human side's ability to inspect the scene is unlimited. For a strict confirmation of death, I recommend that you have that child repeat it in red. Okay, that's where I'll strike it, repeat it. Okay, that's where well, the 6 victims are all dead. Well, yeah, so you repeat something in red, is he not? Hey, enough lazing around here. Refuse to repeat it. This is where our battle starts. What? Oh, wow. Kako, sorry, that's final answer. These 6 are all dead. Kento, Genji, Shannon, Ken, Goda, and Kumasawa. Why are you so out of it? Okay, so I've already got one out of you. Well, start by denying that classic trick where the victims are plain dead. Cackle, I won't go easy on you anymore. Come at me how you like. I'll slice them slant-wise one after another. Then repeat this. No one is hiding in any of the 6 rooms, so you deny the existence of people we weren't aware of. I'll answer. There's no one hiding in the 6 rooms. Okay, now I'm sure it's only 6 of them in the can. Then they are pretending to be dead. What we do, as if a human can manage anything by now, obediently kneel to the fact that I can control the logs at will with my wonderful magic, okay? Quit babbling, repeat this too. The 6 deaths were instant deaths. Instant deaths? Ho, what do you mean by that? It means there's a possibility that a single victim on the verge of death managed to escape into their room, and after locking it from the inside, it created a closed room that passed away. A classic closed room trick murder, one requiring that the victim receive a fatal wound and then die later. It's possible for a closed room to be constructed unexpectedly if the victim holds up inside the room to escape the murderer and then dies after locking the door. In order to deny that possibility, you will need to proclaim that the 6 died instantly with the red truth. Kako, very well, I saw you with my red treasured sword. The 6 died instantly. By died instantly, I mean the targets instantly became incapable of action after being attacked. Anyone might still have been taking several seconds or minutes to die in the complete sense of the word. But regardless, it was completely impossible for them to take any actions of their own will. In that sense, I can confirm that they suffered instant deaths. And up until this point, I've just been checking for the classic tricks. But now, once our shadow down over, the closed rooms really start, okay? If the culprit is on the inside, they're on the outside, so they somehow kill them from the outside of their rooms. Cackle, have you lost your mind? After all, a closed room murder equals murder is impossible from the outside, right? That's why only a magical murder will be impossible. No, that's wrong. Right approach is a murder really happened, and it is in a closed room. No matter how much you try to trick me, this definitely isn't a closed room. It's a sham that only looks like one. However, Battler Sama, only the victims are inside their rooms, and there are no other people exist inside their rooms. And my lady's closed room definition, remote murderers from the outside of the room have been clearly denied, have they not? Wait, the definition of the remote murder is pretty broad, right? It's not just about pulling a fishing line from outside the room. It's strangling the victim inside the room. For example, a trap would make it for an excellent remote murder. A trap? Oh, what might that be? Just an example, let's say they were instructed to enter the rooms that someone had picked up beforehand and lock the doors from the inside to create the closed room themselves. A trap was set up in those rooms they didn't know about, and that's just what killed them. How's that? It doesn't contradict anything. There are no problems. It corresponds to the existing state. There are no problems on our side either. It does not conflict with my latest closed room definition. Cool, ha ha ha, what's with that stupid reasoning? Nothing suspicious was found in any of the rooms, right? What forms that trap have? Where has it hidden and why did it operate? Explain that for all of them. In the parlor, the guest room, the waiting room, the GIP room, the boiler room, and the chapel. Well, you can't, can you? I refuse to counter that. There's no need for me to explain it. Failing to do so doesn't damage my claim. Well, what did you say? Beatrice, it's the devil's proof. The fact that he cannot explain the nature of the trap does not in itself deny the existence of such a trap. Well done, well overbearing, and a wonderful move. This guy's getting completely used to this. Check. Due to murder, trap X that we couldn't find it, being impossible to establish his closure and murder. I'll cool that check with the red truth. And since we're not killed by traps, and the definition of a trap? That's it. Something that activates when a victim triggers it on their own. Oh, and that's not at all. It also includes things activated by a remote control or by a timer, everything of that sort. So first all arrangements that could carry out a murder without the direct participation of one who planned it out. Perhaps we might sum it up that way. How's that? I'll struck back, as if I let a human crush this closed room. You're looking at pretty frantic too. When too? What? What do you mean by that? You're frantically fighting to make me accept your existence. Until now, I thought I was just being toyed around with you by one-sidedly. But that's not actually true. You're so frantically resisting my countenance, fighting to show that you exist. Now, I finally really feel that it's true. This isn't torture inflicted on me over whether I will surrender or not. This is a fight between you and me on an even footing. Okay, now it's starting to get interesting, isn't it? All 6 tight enclosed room and no outsiders were inside, and there was no meddling from the outside, and also no traps. Up until now, I probably start suspecting that this had been the work of magic. And if you decide to show some bizarre magic at this moment, I might even have surrendered. It's that favorite strategy of yours to intercept all my moves, and in the moment of my exhaustion, I've exhausted all options that fall to my knees. When my heart's barriers are at the weakest, you saw some strange magic could take the game all at once. The short temper is something that this child has always had, along with a bad habit of rushing things and victories in sight. Pukuku, after all, my lady cannot stand putting off a match. Hey, shut up. It's Butler's turn, right? I finished off that trap piece you advanced. What should I repeat next? Show me what you've got. Right, now that even traps have been defeated, this looks like a perfect closed room murder at a glance. And that's why I'll spin the chessboard around right now. Here comes that special technique of yours. How exactly are you going to spin what around? Try showing me. Yeah, I'll show you. I don't need to think of how people can be killed inside closed rooms from the outside. Useless, all useless. That's right. The question isn't how you can kill from the outside rooms. The point is that they die inside the rooms, like in them closed rooms. That's it. That's the answer. If you assume that one of the victims was a culprit, this closed room can be explained extremely easily. What? Ridiculous. I believe I clearly said that in the Reddit. 2 of them were dead. Oh, there were 6 deaths. 5 were victims who got killed, but if you assume that the other person committed suicide, you can destroy this closed room. Certainly. If the culprit locked themselves in a final closed room and threw away their own life, this closed room chain would be established. The suicide of the culprit normally would be an unthinkable move, but the argument that the unthinkable cannot exist cannot be excused. And it is no responsibility to demonstrate the motive, a truly powerful move which can only be used in a chess match against a witch. Well, one cannot be certain that there was no motive. For example, it's been announced that Kinzo had only short time to live. Perhaps he did not regret losing his short remaining life and used his own death to send a message. It might be possible to attach to such a motive. Milady, it is our turn. Indeed, to think you trample even the dignity of the dead to create a culprit with a heartless, cold-blooded man. Also, the dead as a culprit, the worst inhuman move is when used to attack Kaneko in the last game. Even though the games are different, I'm taking a shot back at you with this move. It's a tribute to Kaneko for that time. He's not afraid that Kaneko from his regrets. You have no responsibility to hold back here. You should try to confirm that suicide was the cause of any other deaths. I recommend you have that child repeat it in red. Right, but suicide that naive boy that won't corner her. This will stop you. Repeat it. The 6 deaths were all homicides. That is painful. What is wrong? All 6 of them were killed, right? I'm just confirming that simply from my street from the very beginning, right? Can you repeat it? No, I refuse to repeat it. There is no reason in particular. You realize I refuse to repeat this part is the same as resigning, right? Checkmate. One of the 6 is a culprit, and they plan to commit suicide after constructing the closed room. That's all. Oh, wait, no, I'll say it, I'll use the red like you want. None of the 6 committed suicide. How's that? Are you satisfied? Crackle, 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 crackle. I struck back. What the hell? You can say it, but that's strange. Why are you so panicky? It's just your imagination this time. Even I'm feeling the pressure. That's right, I don't have any leeway. Okay, no mind. The line outside Chowder's feet has been altered. You do not be fooled. Gah! It seems that I'm not working, lady. That's right. She didn't say the 6 was wrong homicide. She changed it to none of the 6 committed suicide. Which means one of them wasn't killed by someone else and didn't commit suicide. I've got it. This is the truth. The culprit X, who is hiding among the 6, murdered the other 5 in a separate closed room. After that, they planned to escape him or hide in that room by some method. However, they got in an accident. The culprit died from an accident they hadn't expected, setting up a closed room murder that they hadn't even desired. Now it's over, bitches. Checkmate. Damn it. Did you think I'd been cornered by something like that? I never announced my resignation of something like that. I'll slice out my foolish checkmate with my red treasure sword over and over again. None of the 6 died an accidental. My apologies. We request some time to strategize. Please allow us to brief postponement in this matter. It's a fair request. Perhaps you should accept it. Sure, take a break. I've been giving those a lot lately, and now it's your turn to take one. Thank you very much. Come, lady, this way. And let's quietly count to 100 inside our heads. Rona quickly covered Beetle's mouth with his hand as she grew thoroughly panicked, agitated, suspending the game. He pulled Beetle away, supposedly to hold a strategy conference. I'm getting freaking sleepy, man. Damn, that demon butler. When Beetle got all hot, I had a perfect chance to corner her. Beetle normally acted like she was graceful and above it all, but she actually had a really short temper and got mad easily. Her usual intellect had less of a voice when she got excited. Well, now certainly is thinking clearly. You probably gave your opponent some time to cool down. That child grew too stubborn trying to move your check. It has absolutely so easily let her several large pieces go. After all, the first Twilight is only a skirmish. The correct move at the time would have been to withdraw. So what does that mean? Did I reach checkmate or didn't I? That child was about to say something in red. You probably wouldn't have reached checkmate yet, but most likely you didn't expect our opponents to resign once they've killed their heads. You're joking, even though she hates losing that much. Yes, in losing battle, it is essential to withdraw your troops as soon as possible to try and minimize your losses. The difficult part is gauging whether it's a losing battle or not. Your opponent's butler seems to have calmly made that decision. Oh well, in other words, she managed to escape by hair's breadth. Getting checkmate and delivering the final blow won't be that easy for me. However, you should count this as your victory. It seems they barely managed to prevent a large loss, but they certainly sustained a considerable damage. The skill of that child's panic ought to make the depths of that wound quite clear to you. Seriously, it made me feel like she started crying if she bullied her anymore. As they talked, went over to Beetle, who wore a meek expression. She didn't have her usual bold smile, but it looked like the blood wasn't rushing through her head anymore. Hey, it's your turn. Did you decide on your next move? I resign. For now, I will let you have your victory. Beetle told me that frankly. It seemed she had taken a farce out of view, and so saying, if you want to laugh, then laugh. It was a bit of a killer's way, and I lost my desire to deliver the final blow. I know that you resign, that just means we're even, since my 30 years can't deny each other. You should treat it more like a tie than a loss. I don't need your disgusting sympathy. I'm telling you that I lost this round. When you find a dog drenched with rain, or do you have a sudden urge to wake you with a stick or something? Nope, I'm not you. Even though she really killed me horribly when I showed the sign of defeat, this is the best she's got when the tables are turned. I did feel that was pretty cowardly of her, but I decided to act with dignity as the victor and let it slide. Beato resigned. This is the one we saw the first Twilight. Beato just couldn't counter my move of one of the 6 was a culprit, and that person died in an accident. No, she probably could have countered it, but for some strategic reason, she admitted defeat. It felt like I won, and more like I let. It felt less like I won, and more like I let her slip away at the last second. In a chess match with the witch, battles can be fought solely with pieces known as X, which require no detailed explanations. Thanks to the devil's proof, I could create as many strange fictions as I wanted and use them as fighters in our argument, but that only works in a chess match with a witch. In our human world, you can't use such abstract theories to explain things. The first Twilight was a chain of 6 closed rooms. It certainly may have been possible for a human, Beato wasn't able to deny all the possibilities. However, I don't have a clue who committed the crime or why or how they actually did it. It may seem strange to hear me saying this after I won, but for some reason I felt like I'd been more satisfied Beatrice had been able to say definitively that it was impossible for humans. I managed to avoid specific using an abstract piece called X, but I couldn't deny that since I had some eerie intent that must never been known was filling up this entire mansion. Is this an end? Okay, guys. Well, it's past midnight now. It's 12:04. This is roughly an hour so long, probably. So I'm gonna start the upload for this and go to bed, and I'll see y'all later.